So listen, here's the thought process. I'm gonna tell you why I say slow down up here. And this is something I brought up at InvestFest, right? On that stage. Shout out to my brothers. I was only one who did a keynote, right? Hour long. Really, I need 2 hours. Next time I got something special because we learned a lot. And this is why it's important to slow down, because when you slow down, you learn. We live in a society of fast consumption. Everything that we're going through. Most people are dealing with what they call future shock. Future shock is when things shift so fast that you get disorientation, right? And you get anxiety from it. And what I've been noticing especially as we've been teaching over the last few cycles, right, through these technological shifts, people are consuming things too fast. And I had to look back and I had to understand, why is this happening at the rate that is happening, right? You teach people about blockchain, you teach people about crypto and financial stuff and NFTs and AI, and why are people consuming it so fast? And I said, that's the nature of society. The nature of society is overstimulation. When you pick up one thing, whether it's the most life-changing thing in the world, once you do something, you're looking to be stimulated again, right? Like, this is not the point in time where we are really taking our time to be invested into the moment, to understand the true value of something. We are constantly looking for stimulation. So I was talking to my students and I say, okay, I taught y'all about this tool, and I can tell that you have not perfectly invested in this tool and consumed it the right way, because you're asking questions as if you've already dropped this tool. And the thing that I taught you would have already answered your question. Right? I was studying something about NFTs today, and they said that it's $1 billion market this year. But because it's not hype, a lot of people have dropped it and haven't picked it back up because of what? Fast consumption. People have picked up AI and grabbed ChatGPT as if it wasn't one of the greatest tools for your business in the last 100 years. And then they are moving on to the next thing. Why? Because of fast consumption. Right? It's the way we do relationships. It's the way we do life right now. It's the way we do food. So in a world where technology speeds up, right? Information speeds up, transportation speeds up, right? Gratification speeds up. We're not actually being invested into the moment. So you have to slow down to understand and to appreciate the true value. The way people create content, the way people live in their careers is fast stimulation. And this stimulation can come from trauma. The need to be overstimulated versus being peaceful, because when we grow up in chaotic environments, like as a childhood, we hear arguments, right? When you got somebody coming in and out the house, it's chaotic. You're not used to peace. So you can't really enjoy peace. You consider that to be boredom. Even social media was created in a way to stimulate you consistently through dopamine. So the way they created the scrolling mechanism is connected to rapid eye movement. So your eyes are looking up and down, constantly giving you stimulation. But it's fake and it's false. It's the same way if you eat some food that does not have the nutritional value that you need, right? That's that microwavable food, because we need it quick, because we're on the go, because we're focused on working or making a dollar versus the art of living and the joy of life and being peaceful. So I'm taking in the moment, because when I take in the moment, I don't miss anything. And there's more value to be brought out of it versus, all right, this was cool, I'm going to drop that and go on to the next. No, slowly consume. Slow down your pace of consumption. The same way a person would be like, why are you eating so fast? Right? Why are you eating so fast? Slowly consume it. Allow your body time to chew. You have to chew in the moment so that it's properly broken down so it can be digested so that you can get the most out of it. So that's part of my main message right now in this age where everything is shifting so fast. Moments are happening. Big news cycles are happening. We're not appreciating our success. We're not appreciating our failures. See, in failure, you learn more in success than in success. So you have to slow down and chew on the moment. Like, damn, all right, what can I learn from this? How can I take this and better it? How can I fortify myself? How can I fail forward in the future? But we're consuming way too fast. We're taking in things way too quick. We have more data in our heads than we actually need. And the reason I say that is because you be on social media, that's why I slowed down some of the high level conversations, because it's like, yo, and don't get me wrong, the more we put out, the more money we make, but that's not what it's about. Right? I even need to slow my team down. I'm like, wait a minute. That conversation we did, that was 3.5 hours. There's so many jewels and nuggets in that. Let's not rush to just put something out. I need y'all to go back in that episode and grab more value and push that out. Right? Increase the value of what's already here. Because people consuming all these things and being constipated, it's not even good for them. It's got them backed up. They got all this energy, don't know what to do with it. So slowly consume the moment. Slowly embrace what's going on in this time that you're living in. Because I promise if you do, you're going to see a value that you never could have understood at first. So part of the moment is like, let's say with cryptocurrency, my first love for the idea of it was decentralization. But they got people to consume it fast through capitalism. Fear of missing out forces fast consumption without thinking. Right? Fast consumption without thinking. I said, we look at the blockchain. I said, no, the blockchain allows people a whole new infrastructure that can be built out. But instead of, let me take my time to understand this. Let me put the 10,000 hours in, then execute. Oh, this person told me something. I should act on this because of the time. So this is what creates the bubbles. This is why these cycles are coming in fast cycles and then they're disappearing. And you're like, what happened to that tech? Even though that same technology, the potential of it is still real. The value of it is still real because nobody disproves the technology. It's just the market consumption of it is killing it, right? And so you're not getting the real value. You got to slow down. All this knowledge y'all learning, you got to slow down and execute. This power that you've been given, slow down to think. Something Waka Flocka told me a long time ago that stuck with me at Revolt. He said, be careful moving so fast and being busy and then have your head in the clouds and you forget the dirt. He said, hey, you so busy, your head will be in the clouds and you forget the dirt. You forget why you started in the first place because they got you just running around. And all you're trying to do is maintain the level that you reach, but you're not doing it for the same purpose that you got in the first place. So you have to slow down. Remember your why. Remember what got you started. Dissect things. Be a great observer, not being controlled by what you see, but to control what you see. Take pause. Breathe. Exhale slowly. Take a step back. Study the playing field. Understand the history of it. Understand things beyond your perspective. Plan for years ahead. When you start to think, number one, they say when people reference themselves in the third, they used to call it egotistical. Right? But I was studying this book and it said it actually makes you more empathetic because you're not just thinking from a self perspective. You're thinking from the perspective on how others see you as well. Right? When you play a game and you playing third, what they call it, the third perspective, the third player perspective. Right? You're different, looking at things at a different angle. You're not looking at it just straight through your eyes. You're looking at it at a perspective of the third person. So when I say 19 Keys does this, that, and the third, I'm being empathetic on my role in the world, how I affect people, how other people view me, and not just from self-view. So you have to slow down and gain different perspectives on things so that you can do things right. Study the future because the future broadens your view. If somebody told you, yo, I want you to put together this event. You got 1 week to get it done. It's going to force you, right, to minimize the vision that you can have for this event. It's the same thing that happens with money. If you only got a little bit of money, you're not thinking big because you're thinking based on your resources, which means you're stuck in survival. So it limits your scope of thinking. So now instead of thinking from here, you're thinking from here, how much money I got and how much time I got. So they say plan like you have all the time in the world. That's your big sky thinking, right? So if I say, yo, I want you to do this event, you got unlimited money, you got unlimited time. Man, all of a sudden you start thinking, man, I can have this done, I can do this. Your mind just goes all the way over. But when you think limited, man, you on fight or flight, you stuck, you frantic. Oh, I can only do this, I do this. You start to shorten the vision to fit your resources. And this is why imagination is a wealth, because imagination allows you to think beyond your resources. But survival has you being stuck by your senses. This is what I can see. This must be all that I can use. That's not the way we about to operate, because that's not how we get to controlling our future. You have to slow down. And when you slow down, it's the same way when you're not scrolling on your phone, being overstimulated, and you look out the window, you see changes in reality. And these changes can point to hints towards a future development. But a lot of times we're not even seeing what's happening around us because we're looking for more stimulation. We're not noticing what's happening in the world because we're staring at the phone, which is what people are taking from the world, and then they're putting it on the phone, giving you a narrow view of the world, not a real reality. I've started a new practice in my life, and this new practice is every day I wake up now, I have to go take a walk without my phone, and I have to listen to a book. The first thing I do, I have to listen to a book. This walk without my phone decreases the dependency and the connection on it. So now I can think. I'm not looking for stimulation, because at that point in the beginning of the day, you're the most susceptible because your brain waves are still in that theta state from dreamlike. So now if you wake up, whatever you wake up thinking about is going to reverberate throughout the day. So no, I'm trying to force my mind. I'm thinking about no issues, no problems. Think bigger, think grander, think gratitude. Take the walk. I start observing things. And inshallah, if you can't take a walk where it's quiet, now you're in an environment that allows you to think the thoughts that God wants you to think. See the things. Notice the details. Observe. You see changes that's going on that are hints towards reality. Now you're thinking in different ways. So now when you go about your day, you're starting it from a fresh mind. You're starting it from the God mind. You're starting it from a nature perspective. This is important. That's where I get my downloads. Yeah. This is where I get all my downloads. So slow down. InvestFest happened. I'm slowing down. We're not rushing into nothing. I need to take a look at everything. I need to, when you're working in your business, it's all about how hard you can work. When you're working on your business, it's how smart you can think. It changes the whole reality. So I'm not trying to work in my business. I need to work on it. I'm not trying to work within self. That's being stuck in the emotions. When you work on self, that's different. Most people are working in self. Same way most people working in their business, people are working in self. They're working tactically, responding to the emotions, responding to their thoughts. They're not controlling their thoughts. They're not adding new skills and new perspectives and new knowledge and developing themselves. No, they're working in self, not on self. When you work on self, it changes everything for you. It changes the way you think. Shout out to Billy Carson. And when you work on self, you are better to deal with the things that's going on internally. Those functions can deal with themselves better. When you work on self, that's when you're dealing with the healing. So now you're not triggered as much. When you work on self, you have a better capacity from spiritual, mental, emotional intelligence. So slowing down to me is the algorithm of success, because the people that I see slow down, like think about an elder, think about somebody living in joy. When you imagine somebody in joy, you imagine somebody peaceful, you don't imagine them rushing. There ain't no joy in rushing. Nah. The people that's at peace and that's in joy, they slowing down. They might be chilling with family. They're relaxing. Think about somebody that's powerful. They don't have to speak fast. They can be as slow as they want to. And it actually increases respect because, you know, it forces a person to listen to you. And it says something about your time. It says that you have all the time. So now you get to slow down. So even when you're speaking in a cadence that is slower, it actually produces more respect. Versus when you're speaking fast, now a person think you're trying to sell them something and they think you're rushing because you don't have that much time. So if you're speaking slow, it's respectable. And so this slow is not the slow that leaves you behind, but it allows you to take in all that you need. All that you need. From moment to moment, it gives you power over time. The man who is rushing has no power over time. So the time that we living in right now, you have to slow down. Take a step back. Look at your business from different angles. Remind yourself who was the person that came up with this business. The man that's living the life today is not the one who came up with it. This is a different version of me. The version of me that came up with it, he slowed down. He understood something. He said, I looked at something from a perspective on how I can change the world. He had a certain core values, principles, right? And I always got to remember to pay homage to that person because I'm working for that person because I'm living his ideas. I'm living his ideas right now, so I'm gratitude for the place that he was in. That's not me anymore. That's my creator. You know what I'm saying? I'm living his ideas out. So I have to remember, why did you get started? And when I complete those ideas, now a different version of me is going to set myself on another mission and another journey. And I have to remember all the ingredients that made me who I am and the reason why. You have to remember. And it allows you to be able to have more control and more possession of the moment and to understand the true value of something. Take your time when it comes to this learning. Take your time when it comes to this executing. Time only starts when you're going somewhere. Time only starts when you're in motion. Your future starts when you go through a big shift. People want to know when the future is. The future begins when you go through the big shift. As a society, the future has begun because collectively we've been through the big shift. But individually, in your life, it may be 10 years from now, maybe 5 years, maybe it's tomorrow. But when you go through that big shift, that's when your future begins. So slow down. Get in the full range. Take all the power, then move forward. Right? And now it's operating from a completely different place that can take you to a completely different place. It's a lot going on right now. A lot of you all probably picked up AI and was like, oh, I like ChatGPT for a couple of weeks. Put it back down. You didn't discover, you didn't study it. You didn't go deep in it. They say 1 out of 6 people finish courses. You got excited about the idea of versus the process into. It's the process that's supposed to excite you, not the destination that you're going to arrive to once you complete the process. But everybody's searching for results. Everybody's searching for, this destination that's supposed to make them feel better about themselves. That's supposed to give them this ultimate purpose, this thing that you do, that's this point of arrival. No, it's the developmental process that makes you worthy. If women just had babies, you got pregnant one day and then the next day the baby is born, it wouldn't be the same level of connection, bonding, or respect, right? When it comes to motherhood and life. No, there has to be pain through the process. Ramon G77 said, I love hearing myself talk. Obviously you do too. That's why you're here. And I appreciate it because there's only one person on this live. So, if you don't want to hear me talk, you shouldn't be here, brother. Because I'm about to slow down anyway, too. So, as you're giving birth to things, you got to slow down. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you might address a hater. Slow down, address them properly, man. Give them their full context. They needed that. You feel me? Oh man, this weekend I was able to have dinner with the family after InvestFest. And I had to slow down and take in a moment because I'm gonna be honest, like my family, we it's always an argument in my family about something. Somehow something happens. And after the whole night, man, I just smiled and I said, this is the first time we got together in the history of my entire family. It was no arguments, it was no fights, it was no issues. Listen, and I was enjoying it. I didn't think about it. I wasn't trying to push that out there until we got to the very end. And I was just in full gratefulness and gratitude. And that's because we're developing, a different kind of bond as a family. Sometimes you got to start over with family and y'all got to build. My family came together and everybody was working the booth. Everybody was playing their part, and it was a beautiful sight to see. Because everybody was working for themselves, but they was working for their family at the same time. They was working for the equity they have in this family. It's working for the ideas in the family. And it takes a while, but a lot of people quit before they get to that point. A lot of people quit before they get to that point where they get to appreciate their success. People start new things all the time. And, same way a pregnancy takes 9 months, you'd be in the first trimester, second trimester complaining. You got a long way to go. There's no point in complaining. My mom had altogether, she had like 11 children that came out of her. It's the same thing with some people. Some people, they gave birth to multiple things. They gave birth to so many different things. So sometimes when we see people complaining, barely in their first trimester or their first idea being brought out into reality, we say, you just a baby. You don't have what it takes to really build out something. You complaining about the beginning of your first start. You got a lot more to go through. You better enjoy this process. You better enjoy this process. So anytime I see somebody who's done something great, I know that they've been through the pain that 90% of people are not willing to go. Man, it comes with a lot of work, but it's worth it. The things that I've been through, it have broke many people's heart and many people will to continue. But for me, it's only empowering because when I ask for the success, I ask for the side effects that come along with it. When you go to your doctor and you ask them for a medicine and they like, this is what you want, that comes with side effects. Doctor, you get the medicine. I'm going to prescribe it to you. But it comes with these side effects. So when those side effects come, you can't complain because it's what you asked for. Because you said that's what you needed. So if you think that new car, if you think that new job, if you think that person you with, if you think that this destination, if you think whatever it is, ask for what you want. But just know that it comes with something. Everything comes with something. Everything requires a give and take, especially things that are great and are worth it. Just understand that. Sometimes the thing you gotta sacrifice may be pride, it may be currency, it may be ego, it may be time, right? It may be some of your own sanity. So you have to always weigh if the thing that you want is worth it. Think about all this. See, people don't think about the future. They think about what they want, not comes with what they want. Think about, are you willing to go through all of the side effects? Are you willing to go through everything that comes along with what you're asking for? I thought about this day and night when I was coming up with my impact for the world. And I said, you know that's going to put you on this list. You know that these people will come at you this way. You know that it's going to come with these kind of mistakes. You know that people going to make up stuff. You know that you're going to have all of this temptation. You know you're going to have a lot. And I still said yes. I still said yes. So when I have to deal with it, I better deal with it. Right? Because I asked for it. That's why they say be careful what you ask for, because you might just get it. But you ignore what's going to inevitably have to come with it. So expect the lonely nights. You know what? Expect all of the good, but prepare for all of the bad. I'll say that. Expect all of the good. Think about everything that can possibly go right. Then prepare for everything that can possibly go wrong. It's the greatest advice I can give you. And I want you to think about the greatest case scenario in the world, everything that can possibly come out of what you want. And then, of course, you got to think about the flip side and prepare for everything that could possibly go wrong. And try to think beyond it. I mean, be so fortified and so prepared, because this is where I have to be in life. I have to be prepared for everything. And the only way to truly be prepared for everything is to walk with God and to do what God tells you to do. And you have to be obedient even if you don't have understanding. You know, that's my master. So if God tells me to do something and I'm not obedient, then I have to take the consequence of my disobedience. And I've been disobedient many times. I've been disobedient many times. And I haven't taken the consequences for those. You know? So I have to set the record straight though with them and say, man, I don't intend to continue to be disobedient. I appreciate the grace that you've given me. Because you know, you already know how hard-headed I was going to be. You know I had to work through all of my imperfections. You know I had to go through trials and tribulations. You know I had to go through the good, the bad, the ugly. You know we have to, go through the failures. You know we had to go through bad business partners, bad deals. You know we had to figure this thing out. We had to go through all of those sleepless nights. We had to go through fights and trials and tribulations. You know I had to make those repeated mistakes when I knew better. But I didn't heal, so I couldn't change. Because it had not manifested within me. Because what you know can be completely different than what you do if you don't connect and root the shadow self. Because many people think they know what they're doing. Many people think they got control of yourself, but you can't control the pain from a scar that hasn't healed. You can be aware that the scar is there, but your body will continue to send those signals because it's like, I don't care if you're aware consciously. I'm going to still remind you just in case you forget. And it's not until you completely heal, you don't feel that pain. It's the same thing with self. When you go through things on a non-physical level, when you go through things on an emotional level, you're constantly triggered. You're constantly feeling that which you haven't healed from, which constantly makes you react and revert to certain behavior. So no matter what you consciously tell yourself, it does not matter. It has to actually take root on the level that manifests itself, right, as change. So none of us is perfect. But, when we get to that place where we start healing and we get better in each time. And every time you heal from one thing, you learn you got to heal from another. And so it's like that's the journey. The journey is heal through it. Slow down. Allow yourself the time to be the greatest version. Allow yourself to be the greatest. So that's the message for the day. It was on the mind. I just wanted to put that out there. Slow down. Slow down. Move on your time. Move on God's time. You'll be all right. What they say, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. But they never said no weapon will be formed against you. Peace.